Hello there, this is forexbrokers.net and we continue the video dedicated to Ichimoku Kinko Hyo, the second part of this wonderful indicator. And this time, after explaining what the Ichimoku stands for, this time we will talk about a few trading strategies. Remember, as a review, that the Ichimoku shows a stance of equilibrium between the current price, present price, the future prices projected 26 periods on the right side, and past prices 26 periods on the left side. This is the cloud or the Kumo. This blue line here is called the Kinjun, this red line is called the Tenkan, and this line here is called the Chinko. Out of all Ichimoku elements, the Chinko is by far the most important one. And this is an information, this is something that traders are not necessarily aware of, and they don't know how to interpret this one. Before anything, let's look at some ways to trade with the Ichimoku. The first thing the traders do, they look for support or resistance at the cloud. So if the euro-US dollar touches the cloud here, then traders will go on the long side, will try to buy such a move lower. As a rule of thumb, like it is valid also when trading with moving averages and so on, the more the price has the ability to reach the support or a dynamic support or resistance level, the less the trend will hold. Therefore, look to, if you are into buying support into the cloud and so on, when the price reaches the cloud, look to do so for the first time that the price reaches the cloud, and maximum for the second time, because if the price has the ability to keep coming at the cloud, eventually it will break through. So as long as the price does not reach the cloud, it means that the trend is still ongoing, and it means that bulls will still have, in this case, a chance, especially at the moment that the price is hitting the cloud. Another way to trade with the Ichimoku Kinko is to trade the so-called cross between the Chinko, between the Kinjun and Tenkan. The Tenkan and the Kinjun act as two moving averages, even though the definition or the way to calculate the values that go into these two lines differ than the classic moving average. So a bullish cross is considered when the fastest moving average moves above the slowest one, or when the red line goes above the blue one. This is called a bullish cross, a bullish Kinjun Tenkan cross, and normally this is the place to go on the long side, especially if the cross forms into the same direction as pointed by the cloud. Remember, the cloud was here already when the price was 26 periods on the left side. So when the price was here, the cloud was here, and the cloud already had a green color or a bullish color. So by the time that the Kinjun and Tenkan crossed, then the sign was to go on the long side, because the cloud also encouraged that. This is another rule to use to filter false signals or false breakouts. For instance, this would be a signal not to go on the short side, but at least to consider avoiding being long, or to close potential long trades, because the Kinjun, the Tenkan line, the red line crossed below Kinjun. So this is a bearish signal. It shows trends exhaustion. But at the same time, the cloud at that point was bullish, not bearish. So while this happened, it is a contradiction, and therefore this kind of a signal should be ignored. What the bulls want to see in a strong bullish trend. In a strong bullish trend, you want to see no cross between these two lines, And then if a cross happens, then there is the moment to close the exposure on the long side. But it doesn't mean that you should go short. For instance, let's assume that the euro US dollar here keeps falling, and by doing that, as a result, the Tenkan will cross below the Kinjun, and that would be the moment to exit from the long trade issued here. So in July, this was a long trade from 1.2954, and this will trigger the exit, but it will not trigger a short trade. Why? It will not trigger a short trade because the cloud here is still bullish. So we should wait for the market to see what it does, and if the Tenkan then moves above the Kinjun again while the cloud remains bullish, there's another entry to go, another signal to go long, not short. What do bears want to see? Bears will want to see a cross here, and then they want to see the Kinko here moving way below these lines, and at that point in time the cloud, or the distance between Senko A and Senko B, will shrink and the cloud will turn negative, and so on and so forth. This is how to use the cross between the Kinjun and Tenkan. But the most important element, as I mentioned earlier, out of this Ichimoku Kinko Hyo indicator is the Kinko line. Kinko line, this line here has the tendency to avoid the obstacles in front of it. What are the obstacles? Imagine here, the obstacles are the prices that we already know. Remember that the Kinko is projected 26 periods before, okay? 26 periods before the actual price. So when Kinko was here, for instance, this is the first time where the euro US dollar hit this level here. And then the euro US dollar dipped, the Kinko dipped because it follows the price. Kinko higher, euro US dollar higher. So this is the move high in the euro US dollar, this is the move high in the Kinko. When interpreting the Kinko, consider that it doesn't show the upper and lower shadows in a candlestick. This is the upper shadow, this is the lower shadow. At one point in time the price was here, but you won't see that on the Kinko. The Kinko simply reflects the distance that the market traveled from the opening price to the closing price of a candlestick. The Kinko will try to avoid the obstacles in front of it. In a bullish trend, everything below Kinko represents support. So in a bullish trend, the candlesticks here represent support, the Tenkan line is support, the Kinjun is support, and even the two edges of the cloud. And the opposite, of course, is true in the case of a bearish trend, when everything above Kinko represents resistance. So when trading with the Ichimoku, look at the current, past and future prices. Look at the Kinko to find support and resistance on the elements of the indicator, on the Ichimoku elements, but also on the prices, and wait for the cross between Tenkan and Kinjun in order to go long and short, but make sure that you coordinate the entry with the color of the cloud, either bullish or bearish. Thank you for being here.